here in Edmonton, Alberta. What's the weather like by you? I hope you're doing well. My name is Lisa Dublin, and I came across a very interesting quote and story that I want to share with you so that could lead off our discussion. It's one of my familiars about mastery, about sticking with one thing. And I really hope I read it this morning and it really inspired me. I'm like, okay, this just came. I'm going to talk about that this morning. So this is actually from Instagram. So wherever you're watching me from, welcome. And say hi. My goodness, say hi if you are here. I'd love to hear from you. So don't forget, this is part of the 31-day challenge on YouTube. So please like, share, subscribe to this channel, Basement Chronicles. Let me know that you are here and you are watching. This is the story of a 99-year-old man who runs a 10-seat restaurant inside a Tokyo subway. It's $300 per plate. There's no menu. He is turned down even President Obama and even billionaires and Michelin inspectors. And he has never taken a day off in 50 years. His name is Jiro Ono. And his obsession can teach something about mastery. I love, like, hear this story, okay? This guy, this is what it says. So basically, he was born into a poor family, and the usual. At 10, he started learning sushi, and he never stopped. So he opened this restaurant in a Tokyo subway station. It had 10 seats, 20 minutes per customer, no menu. You just need to trust the chef. And yet, how is it that it became the most sought after reservation in Japan? In 2007, it became the first sushi restaurant in the world to earn 3 Michelin stars. And then in 2011, there was a documentary about how his perfectionism actually led to him becoming legendary. So if you train there with him, it's like 10 years before you even like see, the inner workings of his company. He says there are no shortcuts, only devotion to the craft. What really struck me was when I got to the last slide on that post. And this is what this man who's a master chef and who has he has fed some of the greats of the world. Here's what he said. It is so simple but so powerful. He said this: once you decide on your occupation, you must immerse yourself in your work. No backup plans, no distractions. So he has made sushi his life's calling and practiced it like an Olympic sport. You guys know what I'm thinking about, right? When I hear stuff like that, like I'm just thinking about, oh my goodness, like what is my chosen field? It's speaking, it's communication. And then how do you take it up to such of a level, not for just myself as a speaker, but in teaching other people to operate as speakers at such a level? I love to say that people will wonder who your father is. That's the superlative for me. But I mean, how many of us give ourselves that responsibility of mastering one thing or mastering one? It doesn't have to be a skill, it could be in one area of life, one topic. Maybe it's you want to look at how to solve for domestic violence. Yesterday, I was speaking to a couple people, on the talk when I did a virtual talk yesterday, speaking about speaking with confidence, and I had to pitch it because sometimes speaking is a thing that's taken away from us because of the experiences that we have had and the things that people have said to us. So I had to pitch it to those people to make them realize no matter who you are and what you've been through, nobody has the right to take away your voice. That's all on you. That's up to you and nobody else. Absolutely not. So that was just pitching my whole speaking with confidence idea and preoccupation, to a different crowd. What is it with you? I dare say we need to stop for a little bit and figure out, okay, if I had say 12 months, the same question I asked yesterday, if I had 12 months and I knew that I would succeed at something, what would I be doing now? What would I absolutely be doing now? If I knew I would succeed at it, what would I leave behind and take up with such passion and such focus that I would make something of it? What's it for you? I hope you find it. If you haven't, it's not too late. When I was thinking about this topic in light of what this man said, if I can just remind you of it, let me do that. Once you decide on your occupation, you must immerse yourself in your work. No backup plans, no distractions. No backup plans, no distractions. And I was thinking to myself, even though you are not too sure what you were meant to do, what's your calling, I feel like the calling leaves clues. It leaves crumbs for you to kind of find out your way. So you have to start somewhere, start doing something that I'm telling you, ultimately, it will lead you to what am I supposed to be doing. I'm just looking at my own trajectory, getting trained as a life coach, also knowing that I had the whole speaking thing that fascinated me as a speaker, yes, but also to see people rise up in their power as speakers. And I'm like, wait a minute, is it that I'm pivoting? And I had to be like, yes, and it's okay. I still have life coaching clients who they're long term with me and we keep on coaching. However, what's emerging because of having stayed with one thing and seen what was working, what lit my heart up, what where I was getting the deepest results with clients, I had to start on that path of, okay, I want business. Okay, these are all the things that I'm good at. I chose a couple, got certified, tried to do classes, tried this, tried that. The very first little conference that I had, it was called To All the Girls, and it was just like a live skills kind of conference in October. I ran it 2 or 3 years, and then I realized, wait a minute, this is just very general. This is not like go for one thing. People could get that anyway, anywhere. And I think like you get to the point when you're doing business, or if you're pursuing and wanting to know what your calling is. And my simple equation is this: your gifts plus your why equals your calling. I do not think that we will be called or asked to do things that we have no idea how to do. I think God gives us gifts that are supposed to be put to a certain purpose. And when you put those gifts and skills to that purpose, you have a calling. I want people to win. I'm using my skills of speaking, writing, coaching to make that happen for people. That's it. Because why should you not win? You should not be the person who has any kind of hang-ups or things in the way, either internally, your internal fears and barriers, or people from without trying to make you be and do what you don't want to be and what you don't want to do, or trying to stereotype you. All of the things. Why should you not win in life? I'm very passionate about it, and that's what my programs do, give you options to win. So what about you? When I really think about this topic, I realize it pays to sometimes just to slow down in life, like to take a day. That's perhaps why it's very important to have a Sabbath, and to have a day when you are not doing anything but just thinking, letting God speak to you, spending time with your maker, with your creator, to get ideas, to get directions and instructions of what to do in life, for example. But it's very important to slow down and to kind of check yourself sometimes, like, what am I even doing? How am I doing it? What, like, am I in my element? Am I doing what I'm supposed to? And if you find that you're not, to absolutely begin to move towards it gradually at first, and then it becomes like an avalanche, it becomes a tsunami in your life, it consumes you. But for those of you who are just joining me, let me repeat what this man who has a 10-seat, what would it take for you to have a 10-seat restaurant and to still have a wait list? How deep that you are refusing people like the president of the United States and Michelin people? Oh my goodness. That tells you the level of expertise and fascination and obsession that this man has with perfecting his craft of sushi, of making sushi. Look at this. It's amazing. And he says, once you decide on your occupation, you must immerse yourself in your work. No backup plans, no distractions. So there are a couple things about that. Okay. Here's one of the things. It is going to be very lonely, and you have to play the long game. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm in the field of speaking. I have to pitch my tent here. I have to see what there is to see. I have to get past the basics. I have to see who's doing what. I have to learn the craft, teach the craft, love it. I have to figure out when I do a speech what worked, what didn't work, what can I do better next time. I have to look at other speakers. I have to help people even when they don't pay me sometimes. I still have to, like, hmm, I reached out to somebody. I was on Instagram and I saw this young man. And I'm very passionate, have a heart for young men when they're trying to do things in the world. Like I have sons, right? So it makes sense. Sons and brothers. So I saw this young man who started a 31-day challenge of coming on live and speaking for I think like a minute or two. And so I reached out to him and I said, hey, try this tomorrow. Like, check your hands because he was, kind of clasping his hands every single time he wanted to speak. So I said, try controlling your hands, try controlling the gestures because they're becoming automatic and people are expecting them. So that can be a distraction. And he nicely responded. I looked at his video today, he corrected that. Then I gave him some tips for the next one and the next one. But it's because I love communication and I love seeing people get better and to speak and to communicate with that aplomb and that mastery. So let's go. What is it for you? Like, can we just decide? Can we just decide that we're going to master one thing and just do it well? One of the reasons I understand that it's difficult for us to do that is the fear of missing out. The fear of if I let that go and that go, then what if this thing that I'm pursuing does not work out? But again, your calling will leave clues. Begin with what is easy for me to do and difficult for other people. That means there's a problem that you can solve. If something is easy for you and difficult for other people, and it's a problem for them, then they will want to solve it. You can teach them how. It took me a while to realize that, I was putting all the bells and whistles on speaking, and most people just want help with being able to stand on stage and not be afraid, and to be confident, to be fluent, to not stumble over their words or to go blank. It took me a long time to understand it wasn't just about putting on all the bells and whistles, about storytelling and how to start, and all of these things are great. But the average person who's interested in speaking wants to know just how to be confident on stage. And for me, it was never a problem. There are not many things I'm not confident about. Honestly, it's not bragging. It's just how I'm built. There are some things, though. Don't get me wrong. I said there are not many, but there are. There are the few that there are. They are deep, right? So I just stay in my lane and I just stay where I'm comfortable. I just keep on speaking about the things that I'm comfortable with and I'm confident about. That I swear that's what I do, right? So it took me a while to realize if I keep on speaking about those things and giving value in these areas, I can't go wrong because that is what people want. You might be sitting on something that you think is so obvious and it's not to you. You might be sitting on something that you think it is so obvious, but for you it is, but it isn't for other people. I was training a speaker on financial, like she's in the financial field, and she has very advanced views and practices about getting finances right. So for her, I came with a very basic question that I'm sure most people have. I said, like, hey, a lot of people talk about saving, but nobody says how to keep the money saved. Can you answer that question for me? Silence, shock. She's like, I never thought that was a problem for people. The same way for me, I'm like, I never thought you would ever need to tell people when you speak, take your hair out of your face. And I was speaking to a friend the other day, and we had that conversation, and no one had ever told her that before. So she's speaking, always speaking. She has her own business. She's doing so well, and her hair, she has a funky haircut, but it's always in her face. And no one, for me, it's just like I've done the training. It's just obvious. You need to see people's faces. If I'm speaking to you, if your bangs are getting in the way, I don't see your face. It's a distraction. It looks so obvious for me, but it isn't for her. It looks so obvious for me that when you speak, it's not about you. You don't be about what you are doing. You always need to answer the question for the audience. What is in it for me? It is so obvious to me, but many people don't do it. They come on stage, and it's not because they are arrogant or self-centered. It's just because that is where they are comfortable speaking about themselves and what they know. So that's where they begin. Many people do not understand that when you come out to speak, you have to answer for the person who's listening, what is in it for me? So I will keep on saying to you, even as you hear me speaking about mastering one thing and staying with it, I will keep on asking you, what is your thing that you want to master? Because in mastery, let's move the conversation along to the next point. Because in mastery, you become extraordinary. Lisa, what do you mean by that? Think about your talent right now. Think about, as I said, what is easy for you to do and difficult for other people. When you have figured out what that is, the next thing that you need to know is, how can I master this? Because if you can master it, then you are looked upon as the authority in that space. You become top of mind. You have what we say in the industry, TOMA, top of mind awareness. I'm pretty sure now when you think of speaking, I hope you think about me. I hope you realize that this is a place where you can come to get better as a speaker, to start a speaking business, or if you are that professional or executive, to hone those skills to your corporate advantage. That's what I'm aiming for, because I know I can do it. I've done it before. What about you? What is easy for you to do and difficult for other people? I keep on going back to that because far too many people are just disinterested in life. You are just passing through. You're in a job you don't even like. You're doing things you don't want to do, primarily because you have not taken the time to spend time with yourself and to figure out, what am I about? This is your invitation to do that now. You can reach out to me. I'm on live. I'm going live today on LinkedIn. I'm starting my LinkedIn live series, you guys. I'm going to start talking about how to move from cubicle to calling, and how it's very possible to build a speaking business, either keynote, guest note, guest speaking. Either you're going to do panels, you're going to do trainings, you're going to do workshops. I even have somebody she's doing painting. She's doing sip and paints all over the city. She's doing them in homes for elderly people. She's using her vacation days even while she works the 9 to 5. So if you want to build that side hustle to give yourself options in a couple of years, you want to be in trainings like this, my Find Your Fire program, to teach you how to take your talent of communication with your business and start something even in the 9 to 5. It's possible. That is how I built my own business. So these are some of the considerations. And for me, that the question of mastery, it really occupies my mind a lot, because I have to encourage myself to be the person who exercises constraint. Like everybody else, I have 1,000 ideas, but I've come to realize, especially having been coached over the last 2 years or so, I've come to realize I can't put all of them out, because I'll be spreading myself too thin, because a rolling stone really does not gather any moss. Because instead of going wide, what you need to do is to go deep. When that happens, when you have that kind of mastery that this man called Jiro Ono is talking about, the Japanese sushi guy, when you have that kind of mastery, then you have options. Then you command a higher price. But the price that you pay for being that expensive is spending time with it, sacrificing the focus on other things to exclusively focus on this one thing. That's what I want to do with speaking. At the end of the day, the dream is to have an army of confident, authentic speakers, executives and CEOs, then my speakers who are in the Speak with Confidence program, then the people in Find Your Fire who are going out and speaking and making a living like that. Yes, that's it. To have created a world around communication that brings people together from different countries, different walks of life, different stations in life, to connect over the power of words. And the other part that I want to add on to that is a Speak with Confidence, not a charitable organization that goes around teaching the youth how to speak with confidence, especially our young Black boys and girls. That is my dream. I'm going to do it, right? I've been talking about it, just putting things in place, but it's about to kind of take off because I think it's just needed. It's necessary. When you become somebody who is not afraid to open your mouth, when you are not afraid to open your mouth and confident about being able to speak and to express your ideas, everything goes up. Your self-esteem, your regard in the society, okay, all of these things, they increase, they elevate because yeah, you've learned how to do it. So we start that process even with the young ones. That's what the dream is. So what is it for you? Where do you want to make your mark? Is it in finance? Is it baking cakes? Somebody who I'm connected to, she was following me for a long time on Instagram, just always listening to the things that I say about find your calling, go after a job that goes well with who you are, then you will have more success. All of the things. This girl, we had a consult one time, and though she didn't sign up for the coaching at the time, what happened is I had given enough free stuff that she could move on. I'm so happy for that. So she started her business. This girl makes delectable cakes. If you see the exquisite nature of the cakes that she bakes and decorates, those photos and videos are just amazing. That's her talent. And she's like, I'm staying in this lane. I'm learning it. She texted me the other day to say that she got a lovely contract to do what she loves, which is the cake baking and decorating. She's in another country and just connected with me on all of the things that I do. So I do like a worship at midnight, 3 days a month, the first, second, and third. She comes to that as well. So she watches Basement Chronicles. She follows the podcast. She told me the way that she got out of her 9 to 5 was listening to my podcast over and over again. Like she just listened. She just kept on making that her diet. So I'm in the field of communication. I'm doing it. I'm in my element. It's way better than I think, and I make more sense in this field than if I were just pushing paper in the office. And that is no insult or shade to anyone who's in the office right now. It serves its purpose. I have a little more structure in business and I have more administrative skills because I spent all this time in an office being administrative. So it has its place. But I feel like ultimately, particularly as you get older, you have to start thinking about legacy and what do I want to do in the world? What mark do I want to leave? I want to leave a legacy of speakers. I want the legacy that I leave to be that I taught people to release their voice confidently and authentically. I taught people and trained them to take their talent seriously as speakers and to bless the world and to be that light boldly, unapologetically, and tastefully. Right? I have this whole tasteful, elegant thing about me. It's part of the brand that I want to push out there, not as a put on, but it's just who I am. Okay. And I'm, doubling down on that even as I train speakers. So I thought this would inspire you to go out and master your one thing. It gets lonely. um, you might have to do several things at one time while you are honing the skill. But by all means, have an end in mind. What's the end game? What's the end vision for yourself? How are you going to make it so that at the end of the day, when you've retired, you can look back and say, yes, I mastered one thing. I gave back to the world. I poured into people's lives in that way. It's not bound to be a big thing. You could just be the person who's inspirer in chief. You could just be the person who provides exquisite clothing for people. You dress the best of the best. You could be a bespoke fashion coordinator, fashion designer. You could be the person who just delves into making people's homes livable. And that's the tasteful thing that you want to put out in the world. We have to, as he said in his quote, and let me just leave it here. Once you decide on your occupation, just imagine this man is 99 years old, 99 years old. You still have a, what would it take for you to have a 10? I've been thinking about that. If I simply had to coach 10 people in one cohort only, what would I have to do to make it so premium and so valuable that taking 10 people would be enough and would get them such deep results that I would have a wait list that is thousands of people deep? What would it take? It would take years of practice, years of honing the skill of speaking and teaching speakers how to speak with confidence and authenticity, so that they would know that when, if you get into the program, you are lucky, you are in for results, your life is set because you've passed through this very premium, effective, and amazing program. What would it take? Who do you have to become to be a master like that? Just name it. Name all the things you would have to do if you want to become a master at your game, at your industry. What would you like? Name it right now. Okay. If I needed to become a master in whatever, I would perhaps have to drop this, let this go. I would need to take that course. Maybe if I don't have the money, maybe I can just take a Udemy course because they're usually like very cheap. So maybe I could start there. Then I would need to watch all the YouTube videos that I can find on the matter. Okay, maybe I'd need to reach out to this mentor and that mentor. Maybe I'd need to put a curriculum for myself together for the next 6 months. Maybe I'd need to get quiet. I'd need to get off social media. I would just be watching Lisa Dublin on Basement Chronicles because she just inspires. So I'll keep that one. I will listen to her podcast. I will watch her live. But for everybody else, I'm just going to double down. I'm going to just do the things that are valuable. Okay? So you can just be that kind of person. Who do you have to become to command a certain price? Who do you have to become to create a program that's premium that people actually want? We have been asking the wrong questions. It's not about how can I make this money? It's about who do I have to become to make that money? What do I have to offer and to make this money? These are the questions that yield deeper results and get you very sober about what your place is in the world and how long it's going to take and what the plan is for while you're taking these steps. How are you going to live? I hope this really helped you today. Don't stop. Don't stop. You have a dream. I read somewhere somebody has a meme saying, when you have a dream and nobody supports it, that's okay because it's not theirs, it's yours. Sometimes, like when I tell people my dream about speaking, even my speakers, cricket. Crickets, except when, because they don't see the big picture. Perhaps they were just part of one cohort, but I see the big cohort of having started something from 2021 to now 2025 and still being going. There's something there. When people do not support your dreams, you don't give up on them. They don't know. They're not heading where you are. They don't see the end that you see in your mind. That's okay. What you need to do is encourage yourself, put things in place, talk to yourself, put the strategies of the dream together to get there. And the thing that I know about life that I've proven to myself and seen it in other people's lives, when you start to push the car, help is going to come. You will not be the person standing on the side of the road. Help me, I have a dream. No. If you start to push that car up the hill, people will recognize your grit, resilience, and they will sign into the dream and start to come and help. But you don't just stay on the side of the road. Oh, I have a dream, come and help you. Nobody's coming. The dream is yours. That's why it's nobody else's, because it's yours. So go out and do what you have to do. Like, no, I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's go. So, how do you become a Jiro Ono, the man who at 99 years old still has a 10-seat restaurant? How do you have a 10-seat restaurant that is so sought after that it has a wait list, how many you turn away presidents. What is it you who did this man have to become? He had to become a master. He had to have a big dream. He had to see the end and work towards it. So even like he said, they say that he calls the people, he says, sorry, there's a quote that I wanted to read. He doesn't just train chefs, he trains patients. The apprentices spend 10 years making rice, 5 years learning how to press fish, and they must master massaging octopus for 50 minutes. No shortcuts, only devotion. What would it look like if you devoted yourself to your craft and to different elements of it? You see how he broke apart what it take for him to do the sushi, right? Devoted himself to it. So you break down the skill into its constituent parts and you tackle mastery bit by bit. Tackle the introduction, tackle speaking extemporaneously, tackle the shift from one point to the next. Of course, I'm speaking to myself about speaking. Tackle how you do the lives, tackle coming on, signing off, tackle putting the different parts of it together. When you hone those skills, you move on to the next part of it. But the thing is that when you stay with one thing, you get particular with it. I guess it's the same way with relationships, not so? Don't you know your partner more intimately than you know anybody else? Because that's who's in your face. That's who you're gazing on and you're preoccupied with. Same thing with your kids. You know them, right? You know the little things that they do because you live with them, you observing them, you tuned into them, and they to you. One of the things for me is like when my sons recognize I have nail polish on, a different nail polish, like, how deeply do you need to be looking at your mom to recognize that she has a different nail polish? It's just amazing. But I hope this blessed you today, you guys. I'm going to get out of here. So we're not lacking finish. I'm not going to lack finish. So I want you to join me again tomorrow, same time. Let's chop it up about I don't know what, but it's going to be good. It's going to be inspiring. It's going to be wholesome. It's going to be positive. It's going to be all the things that I am. Okay. So I'll see you tomorrow for another edition of This Just Came to Me. Bye. Take care.